Now it's like, hello, so I am.
That's right. Well, there's a couple of things that stand out from the raw material because it's
Mm-hmm.
channeling, and as any other channeling is from an entity that is not from this dimension.
Right.
Now, speaking strictly from the people that did the channeling, which are known as the L&L Research Group,
L&L Research. Why
L
they
and
pick
L
that?
Research. So they were channeling entities for the past 8 years prior to the raw material.
Mm-hmm.
All the time, these channelers are always conscious. So what they're doing is that they're saying the words consciously that are coming through them, and they're just being an instrument, a vessel.
Right.
And but they are conscious. They can recall everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happened with the raw material or the channeling of Ra was that, as the first thing that stands out, the instrument, or Carla, was the channeler. She was completely unconscious in a
Hmm.
trance induced state like never before. So she was completely out. She could not remember anything. She would just be silent and in a complete trance.
Sounds like she's very been disassociated from reality.
Completely. No, she wasn't there.
Yeah.
She could not remember anything. In fact, there's a point now, which I just covered, I think it was in session 20, where the questioner, Don Elkin, says, we have a question from Carla. Like, even though they're talking through Carla, she wrote questions for them to ask and says to
Right.
them, the question is if she can read the material so far and if that's going to influence the channeling. And the Ra people say,
Wait,
or the Ra
so
group,
her wait, so her question was the act of me reading questions, does that impede the answer?
right, or interferes
Mm-hmm.
with the channeling and the information,
Right.
which is a great question because
Yep.
this all goes back to every channeler has biases, and those biases are
Yep.
what change sometimes the information. So by her knowing or reading the information beforehand, was that going to affect the channeling and the information that was going to flow through? And Ra responded and said, no, because one, there is a complete devotion from the instrument, Carla in this case, so her consciousness is completely devoted to the channeling.
Mm.
Second, her mind complex, which is how they, when they refer to a human being, they never say humans or people. They say mind, body, spirit complex, because it's a combination of three
Mind,
complexes.
body, spirit, complex. It's so damn complicated.
Yes, it always sounds more complicated than it is. So
Because it
that's why,
is more complicated than it sounds.
and that
If you
has to
choose to
do,
look at it that way.
yes, but that has to do with the quality of the information that's being channeled. I think this is the most important thing when we talk about the raw material.
Mm-hmm.
That, and I'll go back to your question in a little bit, but the quality of the information is giving in the precise way that the question is asked. They never give more or less than what's supposed to be. And sometimes they even stop from saying anything because it would interfere with the free will or um, possible discerning of the people involved. So it all started, going back to your question again, it all started with, or how they started was that no other channelers or channelings in the past
Mm-hmm.
started with just them saying, introducing themselves and making themselves known as available, and then waiting for a question. They never came on any session with an agenda or a message or anything. They just said, "We are here. What's your question?" And every question that was asked was responded appropriately, sometimes with a blunt yes or a blunt no. And sometimes,
Like who killed JFK? Do you know? Yes.
do you know? Yes. Can you say no?
Too
This,
complicated. Too much. What is it? What was the problem? Like too much consciousness.
There is
Question or
so there's something called the law of confusion that we cannot know as things are running through. But if say people died, for example Hitler, they talk about Hitler there and where he is right now and what happened to him
where is he?
or could be. So
Where do they say he is?
so this is the thing. The law of one model explains that we live in a universe that created polarity so it can experience itself. So
So
with
other universes don't experience polarity?
maybe. So, but the thing is that in unity there is no polarity.
There is no polarity because I guess then we're at that level of homeostasis.
There is just infinite awareness as opposed to separation of any kind. So polarity is like the basic division that exists in the universe. That's why we have duality.
I guess we show for the camera.
Yes.
Big old fat yin yang symbol. A little psychedelic looking.
So that's what the universe is based on, the law of one model. So as you go through the decisions that you make, you polarize either towards the positive or the negative. That's where you're interested in the part where if you want to be evil, then you have to be really, really evil if you want to continue to ascend in the other densities of consciousness. They give an example of people who have ascended on the negative path. Genghis Khan is one of them, as well as Rasputin. So they ascended to 4 density consciousness.
Like, what about Hitler?
So those needed to achieve a level of evil, if you will, because it's not really evil, it's just negative polarization by doing the things that they did. So if you want to ascend or just want to use your manipulative, I guess, tendencies or control power over others, then you have to be that bad to ascend. Otherwise, you're not doing your job right.
Didn't you say it was like either you're in the upper half of good people or the lowest 5%
Yes.
of basically the worst people?
Yes.
The satanic murdering pedophile group.
Yes. You have to be down and consciously know that you're doing that for yourself and no other. So
Oh, that's interesting. So you're not just doing it because it's fun or
no,
like.
no, you have to know consciously that you're doing it for your self gain, not
Huh.
for fun. You're doing it for self gain, so it's a different dimension.
Genghis Khan knew that.
Oh yeah,
He knew that. Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know he knew.
he knew. This came from previous incarnations too, where he harnessed this information and he came back to just finish his ascension. So
Yeah.
this all has to do again with the way the chakras work. You have activations of your energy centers, and for you to use those energy centers in the negative way, you have to block the heart. So third density reality in and of itself is either opening your heart or shutting it. The choice is yours. Anything in between keeps you in the loop of samsara.
Yeah.
Keep reincarnating. Because you still need to either open the heart or shut it completely. Is your choice. So this is actually the density. The human experience is choice. And that's why I said that there is no good or bad information. That is your discernment. So your choice as to what to do with the experience is what matters.
Right, because like I said like earlier in our earlier conversations, most of the time when you really break down a realization, like the ego-death experience, like what happens with people like that stormed the Capitol in QAnon, or, what is it, Antifa insanity, or I don't know, whatever cult you're a part of. Not to say those are even cults, but when you're in that state of everything has fallen apart, everything you thought you knew about everything crumbles. And you will believe anything. You are putty in a lot of like people's minds. But in the end, it is still your choice of like how you react to like the very split second you, let's say, learn that some celebrity, whatever politician is secretly like a pedophile rapist or whatever. Some terrible, like, basically that's the worst thing a person could possibly be. You learn that, and it makes your entire reality crumble. Before you can even utter a thought, your subconscious will react to that in three ways. People normally would only see the two of laughter or anger. But there is the third, which is fuck that information. I choose to completely disassociate from that question, and whenever anyone brings it up or it's ever heard about, I run away as far as possible because that question breaks down so much of who I think I am that I am terrified to make that leap, to transform in that way. Even though there is, like, anger and joy are the right answer, both of them. I can't personally say. Even though I prefer joy, I prefer laughter over anger, I can't say that either one of those two are better than the other, as far as I can tell. Oh, what I can tell you is that that third is way worse than those other two could possibly lead you to. Whatever you believe those two will lead you to, the third, where you choose to reject it, is the worst of all of them. But that is unfortunately how most people in our society, in the Matrix, operate, because there is so much information, there is so much entertainment, there is so much media, so much everything, that it is so easy to distract yourself from the big question that is still rooting in your subconscious, prying at you, waiting for you to break free. But you will get there. You will eventually arrive there at some point. You will just then realize, once you've made that transformation, the mistake you made in not making that decision sooner.
It's funny how
That's all I can say for certain.
I'm gonna add to that, or just make the parallel that as you're saying this, it's a way to describe when we talked about the choice being either you see it in a positive or in a negative way. There is no other way. The other possibility is to reject, as you said, the information. And what that does is it keeps you in what is called a sinkhole of indifference. When you are indifferent to the information or the experience that is given to you, then you are denying your own learning. You're denying your own purpose here, because the purpose here in this reality is not to be a specific thing or enjoy specific patterns, if you will. It's to have an experience and discern how you see it, positive, negative, how you can use that experience to empower yourself, whether that be by service to others and being open-hearted, or manipulating others and controlling others for your own gain, closing your heart. Because whenever you manipulate somebody else, you need to close your heart to guard yourself from the emotional reaction of other people, because you can be empathetic to their emotional reactions. So you're stuck there, and the you have to either close your heart or be indifferent, and indifference is not working. That's why a lot of people, like you say, who are in the matrix, they are they are unknowingly trying to be one way or the other, but they're not fully embodying it because they're just doing it because they have to. So people who work in
Or they
corporations,
feel like they have to. They don't ever
right?
have to. They are trapped by their own mind into thinking that they have to.
Because
Because
it
of
goes
money,
again.
fame, the partners you might make because of it, because of you sticking through it and being at a high ranking position or whatever the hell.
See, I started this, and I'll go back, circle completely back to when I was saying that we create a programming on the mind, and that basic programming is to have an experience here of learning. So, those archons that I was talking about, you can see it in the way they manipulate this reality because they create systems by which that mechanism of you wanting to learn experiences are drawn to school, college, then work environment, corporation ladders, and so on. You start, you're always pursuing, you're always learning something, but they are telling you what to learn as opposed to you deciding what am I learning from this experience. That's the difference.
In most places, yes.
So the
I
Matrix.
will say my time at RISD involved a lot of people being like, figure this shit out for yourself. And that was honestly terrifying coming from a more matrix style education system where I was used to like, here are the questions you got to answer. We're going to tell you you're right or wrong at the end.
Yeah.
Like when I presented things and I saw my other classmates doing stuff I didn't do, I broke down because I would be up all night working on other shit, and they did things and I was like, oh my god, I did do that too. And they're like, I don't know either. I just did it because I thought I had to do it. No one knows what they're doing. Okay, good. Like
Yeah.
we're on the same page here.
And don't you feel more alive there?
Yeah.
As opposed to doing what
True.
something is telling you to do.
Yes.
So,
It's scary, but it is worth it.
well, I think anybody listening right now can identify with that feeling of doing something because they're told to do it. This is an 8 to 5 job. This is a circle of friends that you have, or something that you feel that you have to belong to, but it's in conflict with your true self. So there is no wrong actually in an 8 to 5 job.
Yeah, no.
There
not
is
at all.
no, to me, and this is just my personal view of life. There is nothing wrong with having a inside the matrix life,
Yeah,
as
having
long
structure.
as what you're doing is something that you love and you can love what you do, no matter what it is. And there is no judgment. I mean, you're shielded against any judgment because you're doing even the sacrifice. It could be seen as a sacrifice to go to work because
Yeah.
the love and devotion that you have for your family, say,
Yeah.
that is perfectly fine. Now, the key thing for people is to realize that there can be a conflict inside of you. So you shouldn't be doing the 8 to 5 job, sometimes 8 to 9,
Yeah.
and you have to do it because that's what society is telling you, and you have to love your family. If you're not feeling it, chances are that's not your family. And I know that sounds heartbreaking for a lot of people, but they need to figure out why that's not their family, why that's not their job, why. I can't tell you why, but it's the truth. And you need to listen to your inner voice and hear what it has to say. Because maybe the job isn't it, maybe the husband or wife isn't it, maybe even your children, as terrible as this may sound, is not the right environment for you. And it's okay to go to that dark place because what you will realize in the end, and this is just part of people's journey, is that everything was always all right. Everything was always all right, and it was just your perception. And you need to work out what happened in your perception to perceive your reality as something being wrong when it actually wasn't. So that's why I don't say that there's one specific way to polarize towards the positive or the negative. It's just
Hmm.
you discern the experience that you're having, because everything that's happening in front of you is teaching you something about yourself. This is teaching me something about myself. Like
So
this
much.
whole night here has been, this is what I came here. I came here to learn more about myself because of the reactions I was going to have with you, and the conversations and the things that you told me about myself, whether that be accepted as me as a praise or a criticism,
Hmm.
which we went through,
Yep.
and those things inform me of myself. And now it's up to my discernment. I'm not saying I have the right way or the tool, the magic tool. I just know what works for me, and I've
Right.
been doing it, and so far it works.
Yeah, like you just look at your past and your present and you compare and you say, "Yeah, it's been going pretty well. It's been going in fact so well that I have the inspiration and motivation to put out videos about that transformation."
Yes.
And to sort of wrap up this overall conversation, because we kind of gotta wrap it up. You have to leave in like about half an hour.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I will say, with regards to the polarity of it, how the upper half and the lowest part level up. The understanding that I have had is that if only the good people ascended to heaven, if let's say there was heaven, is what is after this, is we go to heaven, is fourth dimensional consciousness, whatever, then what will we do? We're all the good people. There's no conflict, there's no wants, there's no strife, there's nothing to need to fix, to need to do. There is nothing. The game just ends. The game ends. And if I learned anything, the people, the whatever created this game that we're all experiencing together never want it to end. People just come and go and experience things as they come. And as such, the most evil people level up because I guess evil is so powerful, or negative energy, or whatever you define, is so powerful that it requires only that small fraction to be enough conflict for the upper half of all of humanity at our next fourth dimensional consciousness to create the level of strife. Which kind of lends me to understand that, like, okay, evil is like that powerful. Once you decide to harness that evil power, if that is the choice that you make, because it's your choice. So yeah, that is the end of my spiel. I don't know if you want to end it, send a little party message, a little final word before you give your
Sure.
Instagrams or whatever.
So everybody right now is on that second wave of hippie, renaissance, psychedelic, rebirth,
If you're
and
listening to this, yeah.
definitely. So the one word that comes out a lot is love. Love, love, love. I think I can contribute, this would be my last contribution to the Mind Palace today, is that love, oh, that's powerful. Thank you.
Yeah.
We can't get into that story right now, but
No.
thank you, Mom.
Thank
Um,
you.
that love for us to live it here is a sense of appreciation for everything that exists in your life, no matter how dark it seems. In fact, the darkest it is, the better. You can inform yourself of how you can appreciate it. It's showing you something. It's making you confront that fear. Fear is the lack of love. So when you embrace it, embrace the darkness, then you start to see love in its true form, and you can appreciate it more. That is the true love and compassion that really catapults you anywhere. And it doesn't have to be a specific type of definition of love.
Mm-hmm.
It's just your perception as to how to appreciate this with an open heart and feel the emotions that go through you
Yeah.
and feel the emotions of others around you. That is the open heart. That is the true love, the full compassion, unconditional love, actually,
Yeah,
that
like
we're supposed to learn.
you've been married for 17 years.
Yeah.
You have a child, like 13.
Yes.
You, I'm sure, can speak to the dark moments you've experienced
I was just gonna
in that
say
love.
that it's never been easy, and that's the challenge, and that's what keeps us together. To know
Mm-hmm.
that.
Hell,
Well said.
yeah. So let's wrap it up. You know where you can find me, the True Party King, over here on Instagram at True Party King. It's no numbers, just True Party King. And also Facebook, if you want to find me on Facebook at True Party King, it's there. Also have a Twitter, which I don't ever post on, so I wouldn't bother going there, but it is there.
Mine too.
Yeah. So yeah, I would love for the Oneness to provide all of their socials.
Sure. So my main channel where you can find me talking about this law of one material, especially the raw material, is Gaia Awakens. So you can just search for that, Gaia Awakens, and you'll see mostly that and some other videos about what I call revealing the illusion, where I just talk about my own speculations of this reality and the way I perceive it. It's not true information, it's not the information, it's just how I perceive this reality. Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know. I'm just saying what it comes. And lastly, my Instagram is El Gabo Lugo, which you can probably find in some link that's going to be left somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with Twitter and everything else. But YouTube is my main place, and Facebook is there too, but not much activity aside from my group, which again is Gaia Awakens. So that's it.
Yeah. Actually, I completely forgot to add my YouTube channel, which this is going to get posted to. So if you're listening to it only in the audio, you can check out the video in its full, unedited form on YouTube. Or on Instagram, I do put clips up because I decided that that polarity is probably best. Putting up full podcast episodes on Instagram is not really what the people on Instagram are looking for. Whereas I feel like on YouTube, it's like, all right, let's dig into something juicy.
Yes.
Let me help fill the void that Joe Rogan has left by leaving YouTube. Yeah. So, yeah, we're at the 1 hour mark, I suppose, unless you have one last thing to say. We can wrap it up.
Silence. Silence.
Do you know everything?
A part of me, yes, but my conscience says no.
I was looking for one of those more funny responses from the aliens.
Oh.
But yes, no, that is still a very good question. That's a very good answer. I didn't lead it up to that, so that was my fault.
In unity, I know. In
unity.
consciousness, I don't.
Very good, very profound. I love it. So yeah, thank you so much. I am so thankful. If you're one of the people that actually listen to it all the way, like wow, you get that approval. You prove that you are on the path of becoming that wow, like my friend is right here.
And
Because
if you're asleep, even better.
if you're in a sleep, 100%, you are. I hate to say, you're further ahead than the people that watched consciously. Yeah. So next time, sleep to these and put it on a playlist. So like once once it ends, another one keeps going.
Replay it.
Yeah,
when you
replay.
go to sleep tonight.
Exactly. And fill out the comments. I would love as many comments. I respond to all of the comments with all of the love and compassion. So if you have any question, please ask all the questions. If you have anything or you feel like you don't agree with it, if you have issue with anything we say, I 100% want you to ask that question. Ritual number 6 is ask questions openly. There are no bad questions.
There's only questions. It's the discernment of us that makes it good or bad. It's your choice.
Questions help to deeper levels of knowing than our ego allows. All right. I will leave you with that. Thank you so much for listening. Bye bye. Love you.